the coffee shop on Madison Avenue was the kind of place where professionals met for power lunches and first dates, where the espresso was always perfect and the pastries were displayed like art behind glass cases. Natural light streamed through large windows, illuminating wooden tables and comfortable seating that invited conversation. Nathaniel Grant sat at a corner table, checking his watch for the third time in 10 minutes. He was 36 years old, with dark brown hair styled back from his face, and he wore a navy blue suit that had been tailored precisely to his frame. As CEO of Grant Financial Group, he was used to people being punctual for meetings with him. This blind date was no exception to his expectations. His assistant had set it up, insisting that he needed to get back out there after his divorce 2 years ago. The woman he was supposed to meet, someone named Rebecca Walsh, was a single mother who worked as a teacher. His assistant had been enthusiastic about the match, saying they'd both been through similar challenges and might understand each other's complicated lives. Nathaniel had been skeptical, but had agreed. Dating at his level was complicated. Women were often more interested in his bank account than in him as a person. Maybe someone with her own responsibilities, her own challenges, would be different. He was reviewing emails on his phone when he heard a small voice say, "Excuse me, are you Mr. Nathan?" Nathaniel looked up to find himself face to face with a little girl. She couldn't have been more than 4 years old, with blonde hair pulled into pigtails and wearing a pink dress that looked slightly rumpled, as if she'd been wearing it all day. Her shoes were scuffed, and she carried a small backpack that seemed too big for her tiny frame. "I'm Nathaniel," he said, confused. "But I think you might have the wrong person, sweetheart. Are you lost? Where are your parents?" The little girl climbed onto the bench across from him with determination, setting her backpack on the table. "I'm Emma Walsh. My mommy was supposed to meet you today, but she got really sick this morning. She has a fever and was throwing up. And Mrs. Martinez from next door said mommy shouldn't leave the house. So I came instead." Nathaniel stared at the child, trying to process what he was hearing. "You came instead? Emma, how did you get here?" "I took the bus. Mommy takes me on the bus sometimes, so I know which one goes to Madison Avenue. And I have the address you sent Mommy on my tablet." She pulled out a slightly battered children's tablet from her backpack. "See, I have all the messages." Nathaniel felt a mixture of alarm and disbelief. This 4-year-old child had traveled across the city by herself to inform him that her mother was sick? "Emma, does your mother know you're here?" Emma's face fell slightly. "No, she was sleeping. The medicine made her sleepy. But I didn't want you to wait and think Mommy didn't want to come. She was really excited about meeting you. She got a new dress and everything. She just got sick and couldn't come, so I thought I should tell you." Nathaniel's mind was racing. A 4-year-old had taken public transportation, alone to deliver a message because her mother was too sick to call. That suggested either incredibly poor judgment or a level of desperation and resourcefulness that was both alarming and touching. "Emma, I need you to tell me your address right now. We need to get you home and make sure your mother knows you're safe." "Are you mad at me?" Emma asked, her blue eyes filling with tears. "I just wanted to help. Mommy's been so sad lately because Daddy left and she has to work a lot, and she doesn't have friends to go out with." When she got the message about meeting you, she smiled for the first time in forever. "I didn't want you to think she didn't care." Nathaniel felt his chest tighten. This child, barely old enough for kindergarten, was trying to take care of her mother's emotional well-being. "I'm not mad at you, Emma. I'm concerned. What you did was brave, but also very dangerous. You could have gotten hurt or lost. But right now, we need to get you home safely. Can you tell me where you live?" Emma recited an address in a neighborhood Nathaniel knew was several miles away. He immediately pulled out his phone and called his driver. "Charles, I need you at the Madison Avenue coffee shop immediately. We have a situation." While they waited, Nathaniel ordered Emma a hot chocolate and a pastry. She accepted them with the kind of gratitude that suggested treats like this weren't common in her life. "Tell me about your mom," Nathaniel said, trying to keep Emma calm while also gathering information. "What does she do?" "She's a teacher. She teaches little kids like me how to read and write. She works really hard and sometimes she brings work home and stays up late, grading papers. She says teaching is important because it helps kids have better lives." "And your dad?" Emma's face clouded. "He left 6 months ago. He said he didn't want to be married anymore, and that he wanted to go live with his new girlfriend. Mommy cried a lot after he left. She tries to hide it, but I hear her sometimes at night. Nathaniel felt anger building toward a man he'd never met. What kind of person abandoned a family like that? His car arrived, and Nathaniel helped Emma gather her things. As they walked to the vehicle, he noticed how small she looked, how vulnerable. The fact that she'd made this journey alone was both remarkable and deeply troubling. "Charles, we're going to this address," Nathaniel said, giving Rebecca Walsh's location. "And please keep your speed reasonable. I don't want to frighten my passenger." Emma sat beside him in the back seat, clutching her backpack and sipping her hot chocolate. "Is your car really big because you're really rich?" she asked with the blunt honesty only children possess. "I do okay," Nathaniel said with a slight smile. "I work hard and I've been fortunate. Mommy says rich people are usually mean because they only care about money." "But you don't seem mean. You bought me hot chocolate. Your mommy is probably speaking from experience with some unkind people. But money doesn't make someone good or bad. What matters is what you do with it and how you treat people." "That's what Mommy says, too." "About treating people good?" "She says it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. What matters is being kind." "She's very kind. She helps our neighbors and she always gives food to homeless people. And she volunteers at the church, even though she's really tired." Nathaniel was building a picture of Rebecca Walsh, a dedicated teacher, abandoned by her husband, struggling to make ends meet but still prioritizing kindness and service. And somehow, she'd raised a daughter brave enough and loving, enough to travel across a city to protect her mother's chances at happiness. They arrived at the address Emma had given, a modest apartment, building in a neighborhood that had clearly seen better days. The building was older, with paint peeling in places, but the entryway was clean, and someone had planted flowers in pots by the door. "What floor, Emma?" "Third floor. Apartment 3B. They took the elevator up, and Emma used a key from her backpack to unlock the door. The apartment was small but tidy, decorated with what was clearly second-hand furniture that had been arranged with care. Children's artwork covered one wall, and family photos in inexpensive frames showed a smiling Rebecca with Emma at various ages. "Mommy?" Emma called out. "Mommy, I'm home!" A woman emerged from one of the bedrooms, and Nathaniel's breath caught. She was beautiful despite looking terrible, feverish, disheveled, wearing sweatpants and an old college t-shirt. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, her face was pale, and she moved with the careful deliberation of someone who was very ill. "Emma? What? Oh my God, where have you been?" Rebecca's voice was hoarse with illness and rising panic. "I woke up and you were gone, and I've been calling your name and—" Then she saw Nathaniel standing in her doorway, and confusion joined the panic on her face. "Who are you? What are you doing in my apartment with my daughter?" "Mom, this is Mr. Nathan, the man you were supposed to meet today. I went to tell him you were sick so he wouldn't think you didn't want to see him." The color drained from Rebecca's already pale face. "You what? Emma, you went all the way to Madison Avenue by yourself? Do you have any idea how dangerous that was? You could have been hurt or lost or—" She swayed slightly, and Nathaniel immediately moved forward to steady her. "Miss Walsh, you need to sit down. You're clearly very ill." Rebecca pulled away from his touch, though she did sink onto the couch. "I'm fine. I need to—" "Emma, what were you thinking? You know you're never supposed to leave the apartment without me." "But Mommy, you were so excited about your date. You got a new dress, and you did your hair special, and you said maybe this time you'd meet someone nice. And then you got sick, and I knew you couldn't go, and I didn't want Mr. Nathan to think you didn't care, so I—" "Emma Marie Walsh, you took a bus across the city alone. Do you understand how terrified I've been? I thought something had happened to you. I was about to call the police." Emma started crying, and Rebecca pulled her daughter close despite her anger. "Don't you ever do something like that again. Do you understand me?" "I'm sorry, Mommy. I just wanted to help." Nathaniel stood awkwardly in the small living room, feeling like an intruder in this private moment. "Ms. Walsh, I'm Nathaniel Grant. Obviously, this isn't how I expected our first meeting to go. I brought Emma home as soon as I understood what had happened. And I think you should know what she did was dangerous and absolutely shouldn't be repeated. But she did it out of love for you. She wanted to make sure I knew you were excited about meeting me." Rebecca looked up at him with exhausted eyes. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. I was supposed to cancel, but I was so sick, and I must have fallen asleep after taking medication and... She looked around her small, shabby apartment, clearly embarrassed. This is not how I wanted you to see my life. This is mortifying. You're sick. You have nothing to be embarrassed about. I have a 4-year-old who apparently thinks it's okay to travel across the city alone to deliver messages to strangers. I'd say I have plenty to be embarrassed about. She's 4. She made a mistake. But Ms. Walsh, the fact that she felt comfortable enough to approach me, that she was articulate enough to explain the situation, that she wanted to help you so badly she was willing to be brave. That all speaks to incredible parenting. You've raised a remarkable child. Rebecca laughed, though it turned into a cough. A remarkable child who scared 10 years off my life today. Mommy, I really am sorry, Emma said in a small voice. I didn't mean to make you worried. I just didn't want you to miss your chance to be happy. Rebecca's expression softened and she kissed the top of her daughter's head. I know, baby. But my happiness is not more important than your safety. Nothing is more important than that. Promise me you'll never do something like this again. I promise. Nathaniel checked his watch. Miss Walsh, when's the last time you ate? Or took medication for your fever? I don't know. This morning, maybe? I've been sleeping on and off. Do you have soup? Bread? Anything I can heat up for you? Rebecca stared at him. Why would you do that? You don't know me. This date was supposed to be our first meeting, and instead you got dragged across the city to return. My daughter, who made an incredibly poor decision. You don't owe me anything. Maybe not. But I'd like to help. And frankly, you're in no condition to take care of yourself right now, let alone Emma. So let me be useful. Where's your kitchen? I can handle this, Rebecca protested, trying to stand up. But she swayed again, and Nathaniel gently pushed her back down onto the couch. Ms. Walsh, you're sick. Let someone help you. Where's the kitchen? Rebecca, if we're going to have you in my apartment, you can call me Rebecca. And the kitchen is through there. She gestured weakly. Nathaniel found the small kitchen and assessed the situation. The pantry and fridge were sparse, a few cans of soup, some bread, eggs, basic staples, but nothing extra. He heated soup and made toast, bringing it to Rebecca along with a glass of water and the bottle of fever reducer he found in the bathroom cabinet. When did you last take this? I don't remember. Then it's been long enough. Take 2. Rebecca accepted the medication and the food, with the exhausted gratitude of someone too sick to keep protesting. Emma sat beside her mother, watching Nathaniel with wide, curious eyes. Are you going to stay for our date now? Emma asked. Since you're already here? Nathaniel couldn't help but smile. Emma, your mommy is too sick for a date right now. She needs to rest and get better. But you could stay and talk to her while she eats. That's kind of like a date, right? Mommy says dates are about getting to know each other. Rebecca looked mortified. Emma, stop. Mr. Grant has already done more than enough. I'm sure he has other places he needs to be. The truth was, Nathaniel did have places to be. A conference call in an hour, a dinner meeting later, a full schedule that never seemed to have gaps. But looking at this struggling, single mother trying to maintain dignity despite being sick and exhausted, looking at the little girl who loved her mom enough to risk everything to help her, Nathaniel found he didn't want to leave. Actually, I have some time, he said, settling into the worn armchair across from the couch. Emma's right. Dates are about getting to know each other, and we did have an appointment scheduled. This is not the date I imagined, Rebecca said, but there was a hint of humor in her voice despite everything. But it's definitely memorable. So tell me, Rebecca Walsh, what made you agree to a blind date with a CEO you'd never met? Rebecca took a spoonful of soup before answering. Honestly, my friend convinced me. She's the one who set this up. She knows your assistant, apparently. I haven't dated since my divorce 6 months ago. I've been too busy working and taking care of Emma and trying to figure out how to be a single parent. But my friend said I needed to start living again, that Emma and I both deserve to have more than just survival mode. And what were you hoping for? From this date, I mean? Rebecca was quiet for a moment. Someone kind. Someone who understood that I come as a package deal with a 4-year-old daughter. Someone who didn't see single motherhood as baggage but as part of who I am. I wasn't hoping for rescue or financial support. I just wanted someone who saw me as a person, not just as a single mom struggling to make ends meet. What do you teach? Nathaniel asked. 2nd grade, at a public school in an underfunded district, where most of my kids qualify for free lunch, and some of them don't have stable housing. It's hard work and the pay is terrible, but it matters. These kids deserve someone who sees their potential, who fights for them. That's why you work late. Grading papers, lesson planning. How did you? Rebecca paused. Emma told you? She did. She told me a lot about you, about how hard you work, how kind you are, how you help your neighbors and volunteer at church even when you're exhausted. She's very proud of you. I'm very proud of her too, even when she makes incredibly poor decisions that scare me half to death. Emma, who'd been listening quietly, spoke up. Mommy, can Mr. Nathan come back when you're not sick? So you can have a real date? Emma, that's not how it works. Mr. Grant has been incredibly patient, but I'm sure he has no interest in... Actually, Nathaniel interrupted, I'd like that. If you're interested, once you're feeling better, I'd like to take you to dinner, a real date, without emergency medical situations or cross-city, rescues of brave but misguided 4-year-olds. Rebecca stared at him. Why? After all this chaos, why would you want to see me again? Because in the hour I've spent with you and Emma, I've learned more about what matters than I have in the last year of perfectly pleasant but meaningless dates. You're raising an incredible daughter despite incredible circumstances. You're dedicated to work that makes a difference even though it doesn't pay well. And you haven't once asked me for anything, even though you're clearly struggling. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say. Say you'll have dinner with me next week. Once you're healthy. Somewhere nice where we can talk without Emma present? No offense, Emma. None taken, Emma said cheerfully. Mommy needs grown-up time sometimes. Rebecca laughed despite the tears. Okay, yes, I'd like that. Nathaniel stayed another half hour, making sure Rebecca had everything she needed, ensuring Emma understood that what she'd done was dangerous and should never be repeated, and programming his number into Rebecca's phone in case they needed anything. As he was leaving, Emma grabbed his hand. Thank you for being nice to my mommy, and for not being mad at me for making a mistake. You're welcome, Emma. But remember what we talked about. No more adventures alone, okay? Okay, but Mr. Nathan? I think you and Mommy are going to like each other a lot. She smiled more today than she has in months. Even though she's sick and everything went wrong, she's still smiling. I think that means something good. A week later, Nathaniel picked Rebecca up for their proper first date. She was healthy now, wearing the dress she'd planned to wear for their original meeting. Her hair styled, looking beautiful and nervous. Over dinner at an elegant but comfortable restaurant, they talked for hours. About their childhoods, their failed marriages, their fears and hopes and dreams. Nathaniel told her about the pressure of running his late father's company, about the divorce from a woman who'd loved his money more than him. Rebecca told him about her passion for teaching, about the challenges of single parenthood, about rebuilding a life after betrayal. I need to be honest with you, Rebecca said over dessert. I don't know how to date someone at your level. I live in a tiny apartment. I buy my clothes at discount stores. I watch every penny because I have to. And I have a daughter who will always be my first priority. Good, Nathaniel said. Because I don't want someone who's impressed by money. I want someone who's impressed by character. I want someone whose priorities are in the right place. Someone like you. They dated for a year, taking things slowly because both had been hurt before and because Rebecca was careful about who she let into Emma's life. But Nathaniel proved himself over and over. He showed up to Emma's school events. He helped Rebecca with grocery shopping without making her feel like charity. He talked to her as an equal, valued her opinions, respected her boundaries. And Emma, who'd started this whole thing with her brave if misguided adventure, was their biggest supporter. On the 1-year anniversary of Emma's bus trip to Madison Avenue, Nathaniel took both Rebecca and Emma out to dinner. At the end of the meal, he knelt down in front of Emma first. Emma Walsh, I'd like to ask why.